Hey everyone, I wanted to do a brief revision workshop for this week so you can work through it as you are revising your pieces. Um, I want to start with the importance of revision. It focuses on developing content, the organization of your piece, how clear your piece is, and the precision of wording. Depending on the genre of the piece you're revising, whether that's narrative, rhetorical analysis, whatever it might be, there will be different things to focus on during revision. You want to look at the organization of the piece. How well does your paper flow? Does it get your point across? Clarity. Is your paper easily understood? Your thesis statement. Do you have a clear argument? Do you have sufficient evidence to back up your claim? Are your quotes well placed and seamless? Are they embedded using the quote Krabby Patty, the quote Krabby Patty method that we will be going over in just a moment? Do you include transition sentences? Did you follow the formatting for the class? For our class, it will usually be MLA, but you might encounter APA in your science classes or Chicago. You want to check the general format, in-text citations, works cited. Um, Purdue OWL is an excellent resource for this type of thing. If you Google Purdue OWL MLA, it will provide you pretty much all the up-to-date information on the formatting and everything for whatever you're using, whether it be MLA or APA. You're going to do your proofreading, which includes looking at your grammar, your punctuation, awkward phrasing, checking your title. All of these little things go into your revision. And there's also occasionally significant reworking of some of your paper to make sure it's organized in a way that just works. Um, Sometimes you have to rework your thesis statement. Sometimes you have to look for more evidence to strengthen and bolster your argument. Um, Revision is something you return to. It isn't just over immediately, like it's something that you can continue doing. You can continue developing any paper you're working on. Um, So thesis statements are made out of three different parts: your topic, your opinion, and your evidence. Um, there's the acronym TOE that will help you remember that over time. So you want to read over your intro, highlight your thesis, ask yourself, is it coming towards the end of your intro paragraph? Does it clearly state your argument? Does it take a clear stance? And does it include your main talking points? So some example theses. One of my favorites, apples, there's your topic, are the best fruit. There's your opinion. And then because they are inexpensive, taste great, and they are healthy. That's your evidence. Any variation of that, sometimes your evidence and opinion might come before bringing up your topic, but as long as that sentence has all three of those components, you have an effective, well, you have a working thesis statement. But it takes all of these components for it to truly be effective. You want to make sure you have transition sentences as they help control the flow of your piece. They're direction signs that help readers follow your thought progression. So you want to go through your piece and highlight the beginning of each paragraph and consider the effectiveness of your transition sentences. Does this sentence introduce the upcoming idea? Does the sentence connect the new idea to the idea we left off on in the previous paragraph? You want to look at organization and clarity. Take some time to scan through your essay. It may help to summarize each paragraph's main point. Does the paragraph clearly present the point, present evidence to back the point, and connect back to the paper's thesis? Look at each summary. Does the organization of ideas make sense? Would it be better to move a paragraph, or do you have a paragraph that doesn't fit in your larger argument? Take notes for yourself as you go through and look at the organization of your paper, because you may want to move some things around. When an evidence, or I'm sorry, when a paper is under revision, we look at quotes we've integrated to defend the points we're making. I like the quote Krabby Patty method. Some people call it the quote Oreo. Some people call it the quote grilled cheese, and some people call it the quote sandwich. Regardless of what you call it, the top bun is your signal phrase. You've got, for example, SpongeBob SquarePants, undersea fry cook and pet owner gives his perspective saying. So your top bun leads into the quote. The meat is the quote itself. It was his hat, Mr. Krabs. He was number one. So we have this lead into the quote, we have the quote itself, and then we have the bottom bun. And that explains the significance of the quote to your point, and you unpack it there. So all three of these components go into your quote Krabby Patty. You lead into the quote, you provide the quote, and then you unpack the quote. So when you're unpacking it, for example, SpongeBob argues that the hat must belong to Smitty because Smitty was number one. The hat insinuates that Smitty was number one. When you unpack your quote, you are making sure that it is anchored and relevant, and you're not just throwing it into your paper. You are making sure that you're using quotes to support your argument and not just pulling random things in as fodder to take up space on your page, because that's not effective. Effective use of a quote means you're embedding that quote into the paper and you're using it for something. You want to make sure whether or not you've used any exact phrasing from the original text you're pulling from, because if you are, it's plagiarism if you haven't cited it. You want to make sure you explain how the information connects with your main idea too. You want to check these things to make sure your work is effective. So with MLA format, you want to make sure your last name and the page number is in the header, the top right-hand corner of your paper. In the top left-hand corner, you've got your name, your professor's name, your course, and then the date. So in the top left-hand corner, this is what mine would look like several years ago. My name, professor's name, English course, and then the date. Everything is formatted uniformly. You want to make sure that everything is the same size and font. You also want to check your in-text citations and make sure that you've included those and everything that you need to put in that. You want to check your works cited page, and you want to make notes to yourself on anything you may need to edit. And when you're proofreading, you comb your piece for grammar mistakes, punctuation errors, and weird wording or awkward phrasing. So these things can interrupt the flow of your piece and distract from your ideas. You want to make sure that that's the last thing distracting your audience. And that's it. So as you guys are revising this week, think about some of the things we've talked about today. Remember, you want to make your paper clear, cohesive, organized, and you want everything to connect well. No paper you ever write will ever be perfect when you first finish it, but revision helps us make our papers more effective. So make sure you consider these things this week. And that is all for now. Bye, everyone.